Geometry, we're going to keep working in the same packet. So now we're going to actually use the angle relationships that we learned today to solve for a missing value. All right, so looking at this, the first thing I want you to do is tell me what the relationship is between the two angles. So they give us this angle and this angle. That box means it's a right angle, which means it's 90 degrees. All right, so tell me, what's the relationship between these two angles? All right, I hope you said alternate exterior. They're on the outside of the parallel lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. All right, so alternate exterior angles. Are alternate exterior angles congruent, or do they sum to 180? Let's write our SCAVAS at the top. All right, remember our S's sum to 180. S stands for sum to 180. And then the CAVA means congruent. So alternate exterior is one of the A's in CAVA, so that means that these two angles are congruent. Somebody use that congruence notation to show that they're congruent. If they're congruent, that means they're equal. So I can set them equal to each other to find the missing value x. So I'm going to say that this angle and this angle are equal because they're alternate exterior. So I'm going to do 21x plus 6 is equal to 90 degrees. They're equal, so we can set them equal to each other. All right, what's my first step when solving for x? I need to isolate x or get x by itself. So I need to get rid of something on this side. All right, I need to get rid of the 6, anything that doesn't have an x in it, and I do that by doing the inverse of addition, which is subtraction. So whatever I do on one side of the equal sign, I must do on the other. So those cancel out, and I'm going to use my calculator to figure out what 90 minus 6 is. All right, so 90 minus 6 is 84. And I just left with 21x on this side because I subtracted the 6. All right, now this operation with a number in front of a letter is multiplication. This is a coefficient and a variable being multiplied by each other. So the inverse of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 21. So 84 divided by 21 is going to give me 4. So x is equal to 4. All right, can we figure out what the rest of these angles are in this parallel lines cut by a transversal? I know these vertical angles are congruent, so they're 90. I also know that these two angles are supplementary, right? So they sum up to 180. So this is actually going to be 90 as well, because 90 plus 90 is equal to 180. So that means every single angle in this group is going to be 90 degrees. All right, number 20. First off, can you tell me the relationship of the two angles in number 20? Are they supplementary, congruent, alternate interior? Supplementary, corresponding, alternate interior, vertical, alternate exterior, or same side interior? All right, I hope you said corresponding. You'll see it's on the top left part of this intersection, and then it's also on the top left part of this intersection. So these two angles are corresponding. All right, next question. Are corresponding angles congruent, or do they sum to 180? All right, I hope you said congruent. So if they're congruent, that means they're equal, and we can set them equal to each other. So I'm going to set up my equation. 11x minus 2 is equal to 75. All right, I want you to go ahead and solve for x. All right, so to solve for x, I add 2 on both sides. So I'm going to get 11x is equal to 77. Now I divide both sides by 11, and I get x is equal to 7. All right, 2 more. I'm sorry, 4 more. All right, so looking at this, oh, and before we go on, let me just fill in the rest of the angles here. If I know one angle, I know all 8 of them. So 75 over here, 75 over here, because they're vertical, and vertical are congruent. To get the missing one, I'm going to do 180 minus 75, because I know they're supplementary. All right, so that works, because 105 plus 75 is going to give me 180. So I know that everything else is the same exact way as the one on top. All right, next up, number 21. I want you to go ahead and tell me what the relationship is between this angle and this angle. Is it supplementary, corresponding, alternate interior, vertical, alternate exterior, or same side interior? All right, I hope you said same side interior. They're on the same side of the transversal, and they're on the inside of those parallel lines, so same side interior. All right, do you think that same side interior are congruent, or do they sum to 180? All right, I hope you said sum to 180. Sum to 180 degrees. All right, so now instead of setting them equal to each other, I can't do that. I need to add them together and set them equal to 180 because they add up to 180. So I'm going to take my first angle, 2x plus 43, that's my first angle, and I'm going to add it to my second angle, 2x minus 3, and I'm going to set it equal to 180. So this was my first angle. And this is my second angle. All I'm doing is adding them together and setting them equal to 180 because same side interior angles sum to 180. They add up to 180. All right, so first I'm going to identify my like terms. All right, 2x and 2x because they have the same variable x raised to the same power. So that's going to give me 4x. And then my constants are also like terms because constants are always like terms. So I'm going to do 43 minus 3, and I get 40. It's a positive 40, so I'm going to put plus 40. So I have 4x plus 40 is equal to 180. All right, I'm trying to solve for x, so I'm going to subtract 40 on both sides. All right, I'm running out of room, so I'm going to move my problem right here. All right, I'm left with 4x is equal to 140. I only have a 4x on this side because I canceled out the 40, and then 180 minus 40 gives me 140. My last step is to divide both sides by 4, and I get x is equal to 35. All right, if I were going to try to figure out these angle measurements, I would need to plug 35 back in for x. All right, so let's do this on Desmos because I think it'll be more clear on Desmos. All right, so I'm going to do 2 times 35 plus 43. So all I did was I took this expression for the angle and I plugged in what we got for x. Remember, we solved for x. We said x was 35. So I plugged 35 in. 2 times 35 plus 43. That gives me 113. So I know that this angle is 113, and I also know the vertical angle across from it is 113. All right. Well, then what are these other two angles on this intersection? I can figure that out by doing 180 minus 113, and that gives me 67. All right, same with down here. These two are corresponding, so they're equal. This is 113, this is 113, this is 67. So that means this pink expression should also be 67. Let's confirm by putting x into it. So 2 times, and then we got 35 for x. I'm going to put 2 times 35 minus 3, and that gives me 67. So I know that we did it correctly. All right, I want you to solve for x on your own on this one, number 22. All right, let's go ahead and do this together. First, tell me what is the relationship between these two angles. All right, I hope you said same side interior. All right, do same side interior angles sum up to 180 or are they congruent? All right, I hope you said sum to 180. All right, so to set up this expression, I'm going to add these two angles together and set it equal to 180. So I'm going to have 4x minus 1 plus 11x plus 1 is equal to 180. I wrote over that just to have some extra room. All right, so here's my first angle, 4x minus 1, and I added it to my second angle, 11x plus 1, and I know that when I add them together, I get 180. All right, so I need to combine my like terms, 4x and 11x. To combine the like terms, I just add the coefficients. 4 plus 11 gives me 15x. And then I also know my constants are like terms, because constants are always like terms. A negative 1 and a positive 1 actually just cancel out. They equal 0, so I don't need to put anything. They just cancel out. So I'm going to put 15x is equal to 180. To get x by itself, I divide both sides by 15. So 180 divided by 15 is going to give me 11.25. Oops. My fat fingers. Fingers are so chunky. All right, 180 divided by 15 is going to give me 12. I'm like, that's weird that I made a decimal as an answer. All right. So now what if I asked you for the actual angle measurements? So I need to take x and plug it back in to see what these angle measurements are. All right, so 4 times 12 minus 1. My expression is 4x minus 1, and I plugged in the 12 for my x. So 4 times 12 minus 1 is going to give me 47. So I know that this angle is 47, this angle is 47, and I can figure out my other two, right? I know that they're supplementary, so I'm going to do 180 minus 47 to give me 133. All right. And I know that since these are parallel lines cut by a transversal, the same numbers will be down here. The smaller angle is 47. The larger angle is 133. 47 and 133. All right, let's make sure that this is truly 133 by plugging in x. So I'm going to do 11 times x, which we said was 12, plus 1. And that gives me 133. So I know that we did it right. All right, when we come back, we'll work on these two in class together.